Hey everybody, this is Mickey with Freeroaming Photography, and in this video I'm going to start weeding out some images, but from a much bigger dump than the last video that I did. This one has a lot more diversity in the images, there's a lot more subjects, and there's going to be a lot more going on, so I'm going to kind of show you a more in-depth process about how I weed out the images I'm looking for, and with a lot of different facial expressions as well from different animals. I'm going to be showing you what I'm looking for in each of those as well. Real quick, if you do want to support me, I do have a Patreon up. The link is in the description, and there's also a couple other links, and that's that. Let's jump right in. So, right away, there was a little bit of snow that came in the previous night that I went out, and there's all sorts of good stuff. I love going out when there's fresh snow because it just makes the landscape so beautiful. So there are a bunch of birds out, which I was definitely looking for, and a lot of other really fun things. So let's start looking at what I got. So right away, you will notice that this is not actually a bird. This is an elk. And it turns out if you try to run this through Merlin's bird photo ID, it's gonna laugh at you. So don't do that. But yeah, so this elk was out there. This is a cow elk, so it's a female. And of course, the first thing I'm doing when I've got a bunch of images is I'm going to look for the ones that are in focus and which ones aren't in focus. That's my first test. I'm not looking for their facial expression or anything like that. I just want to keep the ones that are in focus that are worth looking through. So right away, I can already tell these aren't. And this is a typical problem if you're shooting at sunrise or before sunrise and it's still cloudy. Lenses, no matter how good they are, will sometimes have trouble focusing. At the same time, I was also in my car, so maybe there was still some heat coming out, getting in front of the lens and obstructing the focus in that way. So there's a couple of different reasons it might not be in focus, but hopefully, fingers crossed, a few of these are going to be in focus. But you can see right away, not a lot of them in focus. And of course, you have to let it sit. So no matter how strong your computer is, it's going to take a second to read those raws. But also what I'm doing right now is I'm marking the out of focus ones with 1 star. And you saw from my last video, that's just my weeding out process. I will mark all the ones I don't like with 1 star, and then we'll just go through and delete all those in bulk. I will not mark any others yet. I just want to get this weeding out process done first. Now, I'm not going to make y'all watch me go through hundreds of photos, weeding out the blurry ones from the focus ones. So let's skip ahead. Okay, so now that I've marked a whole bunch of them as 1 stars, we're going to get rid of them. And to do that, we just go up to Attribute and click the 1 star up there, highlight them all, and delete. And delete from disk because no point in keeping them if they're out of focus. Okay, so then we uncheck 1 star, and now we're left with the images that we decided to keep. And quick tip, if you are trying to weed out images just a little bit quicker using that method, if you turn on caps lock and you hit 1 for the 1 star, it'll actually automatically push you over to the next one. So just a little bit of a time saver. Now, going back to this elk, these are all pretty much in focus now, so I can just start comparing them because I know they're going to be what I want. This first one, I actually kind of like. It's composed well, maybe just crop in a little bit from the top left, but it's a good composition. It's, you know, it paints a nice picture. So I'm going to go ahead and keep that one. This one I don't like as much because it's just sort of in the middle. There's a lot of wasted space behind it. And to salvage this one, I'd have to crop in a lot when I've got the other one, which effectively does the job pretty well. So I'm not going to bother keeping with that one. And this one I also like because similarly to the last one, it's a good composition, and that's really what I'm looking for now, is a good composition and a nice expression on the face, something that you can connect to. And with any animal, you really want to see the eye. It's a lot harder to get a powerful image of an animal if you can't see the eye, if it's hidden. So always make sure you've got that eye visible. Or, I mean, there are ways of doing it without seeing the eye, but it just gets a little bit more challenging for the viewer to connect with that animal. Similarly with this one, it is not that strong of a composition. And this one, I don't like that it's sagebrush, that the sagebrush is kind of like cutting it into two pieces. So not really my favorite. I'm probably going to get rid of that one too. Okay, so moving on, there is this mountain bluebird, and I love mountain bluebirds, but unfortunately with how early it was, I did not really get any great shots of it. Also, the composition itself, I'm not crazy about. In terms of placement, it's a good placement, and there were some other ones that I didn't bother keeping because they all sort of had the similar background, which is a little busy. It's a little hard to really get a good fix on the bluebird. And yes, I'm being super nitpicky here, but at the same time, it would look better if it were just like a more static background instead of having these different layers going on behind it. And it's blurred out well, it's nice composition, but it's not really my favorite. That being said, I'm going to keep it just in case, but I'm going to move on to the next one, which was this northern harrier. This was the one I was really excited about because northern harriers don't just sit and pose on sagebrush for you. This was an awesome opportunity, especially with the fresh snow. It was really awesome, and I was really happy to catch it. And so I narrowed down the ones that I have, and really right away what I want is for it to kind of be more in the bottom left, like you see in some of these. So this first one I'm probably going to get rid of just because there's a lot of wasted space at the bottom. So I'm just going to get rid of that one because I know I have other ones that I can use. And then honestly, between all of these, I'm not really sure which one to keep first. But that being said, we're just weeding out the ones we don't like right now so we can come back to it. And then I had this awesome opportunity with this northern flicker, which I admittedly don't get very much. They're either buried in a scraggly cottonwood tree or they're in sagebrush. So out here, I don't get a lot of good opportunities with northern flickers, so I was really happy about this. My only complaint is that there again is a bit of a busy background. I did try to back up to, because I was still in my car, I tried to back up so that I could get a more static and darker background, but that was when it flew off. So I'm still happy with what I got. I'm still going to keep them and use them. But right now, like that first one, I like a lot. And I like the one of it kind of looking away too. So not really going to get rid of any of these yet. These are going to be hard to narrow down because I do like them a lot. Probably just that first one. And then I had a fox sparrow. Fox sparrows similarly like to hide in bushes and don't like to give me opportunities, but this one decided to, which thank you, fox sparrow. I've got a lot of the same ones. He's just sort of calling from the brush. So I don't need the exact same image over and over again. So I'm going to get rid of a couple of these. That one sort of looks like an in-between of calling. And then there's the red-winged blackbird. Also a busy background, but not a bad shot of a red-winged blackbird picking apart a cattail for its nest. Hard to see the eye in that one, but it's a nice sort of like almost an educational shot where you can sort of see what it's doing. There's a little bit of a story going on. So I'll keep that one just in case and contradict myself. There you go. This one is nice. You don't see much of the red, but it's a nice pose. A little bit heavy on the left. You can kind of see you want to have a little bit more breathing room where it's looking, but that's not there. So I kind of like that one better. It's almost the same shot, but it's a little bit better composed because he did pick up a little bit and created a little bit more space. So I'm going to get rid of that first one, keep that one, and that one's just, you know, it's nice that it's calling, but botched it up because it is, all the interesting action is over here in the right half. And there's really not much interesting going on over here. It's just sort of dead space. So yes, you could crop it vertically. That would make it a lot more interesting, but then you're going to lose a lot of resolution. And I don't really want to do that. So I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of it because the other thing is red-winged blackbirds are not that uncommon. So I could probably get a similar shot pretty soon if I really wanted to. So I'm not too worried about keeping this shot. If this were a wolf in wildflowers, I might make do with it. But It's a pretty common bird. It's a pretty common action. It's not that unique. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this one. And then again, we're going to go back here, get rid of the ones we weeded out. And now we get to the good stuff. So I've got these 2 elk shots now. I'm narrowed down these, I think I started with a dozen, maybe 20 elk shots. And now I've got these 2. Which one do I like better? Here's what I'm looking for. They're both an elk in the snow, in a snowy sagebrush field. So which one do I like better? I personally like the first one. It's a nice composition. It's a nice environment shot. The second one, I like a little bit better because what the elk is doing is it seems just a little bit more alert. The first one, it looks like it's just sort of walking through, which is nice in its own respect. But this one, its head's up a little bit more, and it's sort of like it's paying a little bit more attention to something. And it creates a little bit more of a story in the alertness of the elk itself. So even though I am going to have to crop in a little bit more on this shot, I like this one better. And so I am going to go with that one. So what I do with all my keepers, and this is totally personal preference, you don't have to do it this way. A lot of people have their own way. But I like to add the ones that I want to keep and want to work on and potentially add to my website under a quick collection. And this gets filled up really fast in my Lightroom catalog. And it's just an easy way for me to just have all my keepers right there ready to go. It's an automatic feature in Lightroom. The quick catalog is always there. And to add it to the quick catalog, when you're in the group, you can either click this little dot there, or you can also just push B, and that'll do it. So now I've got the elk shot that I wanted from whatever it was, 20, I don't remember. But moving on to the bluebird, like I said, I like it, but I don't really like it, so I'm just going to skip the bluebird. Sorry, bluebird. And then this is the one I was really looking forward to, the northern harrier. So there's a lot of different poses going on. I've got him looking in a lot of different places, as you can see. So the question is, which one or ones do I want to keep out of this? And because I have him looking across the frame and then back toward me a little bit, I'm probably going to keep one of each of those. So I need to figure out which one of those I want to keep. So going back to the beginning, that one's a little to the center to me. So I'm not crazy about it, but I might keep it just in case there's not a better one. And I like that one of him looking back at me. And it should be noted, I was not stressing him out. I was being very casual. He was probably looking more at my car because it's a blue SUV, so it probably stuck out. But I was ducking behind my car with the car off so the exhaust wouldn't get me. But yeah, so I was ducking down low so that I could increase the depth behind him and create that really nice effect where there's depth behind him instead of just sagebrush. If I had been standing up, or if I were trying to take this from within my car, you would get just sagebrush behind him, and then the depth would be above him. But because I sat down on the road and like knelt in the road to prop up my camera, you get that nice depth behind him. You get just that nice plane of focus that's along where he is. So that worked out really well. So I do like this one. I did go ahead and add that one to the quick collection. And then I want to get another one of him looking across. I kind of like that one. That is nice, but I do like that first one because he's got his head turned back a little bit. So I'm going to add that one too. So out of the 7 northern harrier shots I have left, I'm going to work on 3 of them. And I'm going to see which one or ones that I just like the most. Worst case scenario, all 3 will work really well for stock photography. Upload them to a stock photography agency and you got, a few potentially good sellers. Moving on to the northern flicker, I've got 6 here. 2 of them are vertical. I did like the vertical shots, the orientation better, but that being said, there's still some horizontal ones that I still enjoy. So this first one, ooh, that's a tough call. I do like him looking into the distance, but I also really like him looking up and back kind of over his shoulder a little bit, sort of like I'm doing right now. So I'm going to keep that first one. In terms of the vertical ones, I've got these 2 options. He's looking in either direction. besides that, there's not a huge difference. I sort of like this one better. And the reason is because the edges of that dead tree sort of mimic his beak. So it creates sort of more directional flow going up and to the left. Whereas this one, there's sort of that contrast between those 2 points going in different directions. And this just doesn't have the same kind of flow. So I am going to go with this one and keep that one handy. And then in terms of these two, when he actually turned around to face me, which was awesome, thank you, Northern Flicker, I like that one better. It's not really that much of a contest, so I'm going to keep those 3. I will work on those 3, and those are going to be the Northern Flicker shots that I like. And then this Fox Sparrow, this was a hard one because it was very backlit, and this was the only angle I had of him. And he was calling, and it's not a fantastic shot because you can see there's branches just coming up right in front of him. So I'm not crazy about these branches, and I'm not really one to go all in on AI and just say, hey, just take this out and make it a perfect shot. I don't really like that. I think there's a little bit of a ethics balance between that, between what you get while you're out there and then what you just let the computer do for you. So I'm not gonna modify this any more than just standard developing. Occasionally, if there's a stray grass and it's getting in the way, I'll take that out, but I'm not one for altering a photo a whole lot. So in terms of this Fox Sparrow calling, these are the 2 I have left. That one, he just looks like he's got a little crick in his neck. So I'm going to go with that one. And that being said, this is also probably going to be a high key edit, which means I'm going to make it very bright. I'm going to bring out a lot of the brightness and work with a lot of those darker tones to just make it more just brighter and high key. I'm blanking on some better adjectives right now, but that's sort of what I'm going with. And then with the red-winged blackbird, I honestly like both of them, so I'm just going to keep both of them. And then you'll notice there's a couple other video shots in there. Those are just slow motion video, which Lightroom does support. Not tremendously amazing action, but it's pretty interesting. There was a light snowfall. It was picking apart the cattail. It's always fun to see in slow motion, right? So that is that. And yeah, I hope you found this helpful. I'm going to make another video using these images to show you how I actually process the images. I don't want this video to be an hour long, so we're going to cut it short here. And thank you so much for watching. If you want to support me, check out the links down in the description. And please like and subscribe. It means the world to me and it helps me out so much. And yeah, thank you so much. I will see y'all next time.